To kick off this year's summit, let me introduce our moderator. Our moderator, a personal favorite, is no other than Josiah Go, the Chairman and Chief Innovation Strategist of Mann Smith and Fielders Incorporated. He is also an independent director of Union Bank of the Philippines and is either the chairman or director of a dozen other companies. You see how lucky we all are today? Josiah is a thought leader with 19 best-selling and record-breaking marketing and entrepreneurship books. And he is known as one of the Philippines' most respected marketing gurus. He is also the most awarded business educator in the Philippines. He has been recognized, among others, as one of the 10 outstanding young men, better known as TOYM, of the Philippines in 2001, and one of the 10 outstanding young persons, or TOYP, TOYP, of the world in 2002. The first and only Filipino in business education given by World JCI in a competition of over 1,000 TOYMs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Josiah Go with our first speaker, Rosemarie Rafael.
Hello, this is Josiah Go. Airspeed Group of Companies Chairperson Rosemarie Rafael is the first female president of the Air Cargo Forwarders Association of the Philippines, and one of the most notable figures in the nation's logistics sector. In 1985, she established the corporate logistics company Airspeed, where she directed the team's growth. As a company, Airspeed ensures that they look out for their stakeholders, foster the lives of their employees, preserve communities, and assist them in developing their businesses. She's also the president of the Women Business Council of the Philippines. In this interview, she will share her story on business excellence as the top freight forwarder and express delivery firm in the Philippines. Welcome, Rosemarie. How are you?
I'm so happy to be with you right now, Josiah, and a very good day to everyone. Thank you for inviting me here.
And thank you very much for this interview. You know, before I ask you my first question, I want to give you feedback from your recent feature in Inquirer and in my blog. Can you imagine? We have, so I'm going to read you two of the early comment. Louis Buenaventura said, I only recommend Airspeed. You beat very tight deadlines. And then Pong Ejercito, I think he's our mutual friend, no? He said, you have given Airspeed your amazing personal brand of customer service. Glad to see your business become very successful and well recognized. And knowing Pong Ejercito with very high standard, giving a comment like that, wow! I must congratulate you, Rosemarie, no? With such leadership, and but maybe you can tell us what is exactly the brand of Airspeed customer service.
As you can see, and first of all, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Louis, for all those heartwarming comments, and we really take it to heart. But as you can see, the brand promise that we have is making it happen. And by doing so, each and every individual really take it to heart, not only take it to heart, take it to mind, and take it into action that we really have to make it happen. So customer service is really very crucial. And when I was starting the business, I really put emphasis on what customer service should be all about. Since we are in a service-oriented industry, it is so important that we really provide service. Kahit na sabihin mong, let's say, I don't know the answer now, but we still have to get back. Or let's say we can't get into something or there are some issues because nothing is perfect. Something can go wrong or may go wrong. But what is important is really to be able to address it, to be transparent, and to see what we can do for our stakeholders and our customers. I've mentioned in the past that when we build relationships, it's not based on transactions alone. It is based on trust. And trust is not earned overnight. Trust is also who you are and what you are and what you can do in times like crisis, in times like there are problems of your customers that you need to give solutions to, in times wherein they really need you to partner with them, in times wherein they need you to see that you really care about them. Even if you have thousands and thousands of customers, it is so important that you make them feel that they are important to you, that their business is important to you. By helping them build their businesses, you also build your own business. So it's like a domino effect. You care for your customers, you care about their business, then they feel it. It's very important that you're transparent and nothing is hidden, but you really have to, pag may problema, and there will always be issues and challenges,
That's right.
face it. Don't run away from it, because running away from any situation or any challenge, aabutan ka pa rin yan. Problems will run after you. So better face it head on and try to see what you can do about it. Saya talaga, customer service should really be part of your DNA. In the beginning, probably, mahirap, di ba? Kasi parang, ay, do I have to answer this right away? Ay, nako, sasagutin ko ba to? But it should be part of your DNA.
Yeah.
And most important thing there, Josiah, is you as the leader to model it.
I really like that. Two things that I learned. One is that customer service is the ability to inconvenient yourself for the convenience of others. It's not about yourself, it's about others. The second point that you said is that at the end of the day, it's in crisis time where you really know your supplier. And from your perspective, it is during crisis that you actually know yourself. You know, in terms of what exactly are you willing to do and are you not willing to do during crisis? Are you in for short term or are you in for long term? Now I understand why you have expanded. You now have over 1,000 people. I understand you have more than 300 vehicles. You're in close to 100 countries. Very impressive. But let me backtrack a little, Rosemary, if that's okay with you. No, tell us about your startup year. And I understand you only had very few people. You didn't even have a weighing scale. No, tell
No,
us about your startup years. No?
no, you remember that, Josiah, when we started, actually, when I started the company, that was the time that Ninoy Aquino was assassinated, I think. And people were saying, why at this time? But I said, well, when is the best time? Sometimes we delay what we wanted to do or things that we really like to be able to do because of fear. And fear will always come in every time you have something that is new or not familiar with, because you fear something that's not familiar. When we were starting, I just started with 6 people and not a lot of money. We have a small office, maybe one vehicle. I was just like transferring the cargo myself. I remember going to the airport, weighing the shipment, and you are so right, Josiah, because we didn't have a weighing scale. I couldn't buy a weighing scale. And when the client will call, ano yung weight ng shipment ko? I'll call you back. I'll call you back. But I'll weigh the cargo at the airport and then get back to the client and tell them the weight of the shipment. So we started with that, but then the customers or the clients that I had in the past company were the clients who supported us. And as I said, trust is very important because you're not selling or coming up with something that is tangible. Service is intangible, and it's really parang you don't see it yet. You really have to be able to prove that you can do it or not. And with the airlines at time, because you need credit line, right? And I didn't really have much credit to speak of, but they trusted me at that time to give me credit. So your reputation, your character is very important. Reputation is very important. You really have to make good what you say. And no matter what, No matter what temptation, no matter what the situation is, you really have to stand firm and know what is right and what is wrong and decide on what is right. Know what is right. So that's very important. Knowing what is right, knowing what is wrong. So through that, customers trusted us and we were able to increase our volume. We started with air freight only, and that's the reason why it's Airspeed. I came from a huge multinational company at the time, but before that, I was with the airline in passenger sales. So there was a shift from passenger to cargo. But of course, definitely, cargo is something that is really very exciting, very challenging. Every day is always new. In passenger, that's really my first love. That's why, I still like passenger. In the past, we were also the general sales agent of Cathay Pacific Airlines in Mindanao. So every time you enter a Cathay Pacific office in Davao, that's actually us running it. So passenger is my first love, but cargo is something that I really embrace because it's so challenging. Every day is a new day.
So you are the epitome of your own slogan. Make it happen.
Yeah.
So make it happen in spite of. I mean, you're saying, don't tell me you have no weighing scale. Make it happen. Find a way. No, very interesting. But how do you focus on your goal and stay motivated? You didn't have as much resources. Now you have more resources. But at that point in time, tell us about how do you stay motivated? I'm sure there are a lot of obstacles. There's lack of money, and you have to do credit line and even the basic weighing scale, you didn't even have it, no? How do you do that?
Josiah, that's it brings me back memories of how we're able to build it up because the business journey in anywhere is not all good. There are so many
Right.
ups and downs, and maybe a lot of downs. And during those period, I would like to encourage everyone not to be discouraged. That quitting should not be an option,
Oh,
especially when you know that you have the purpose, the reason behind all of that. Quitting is not an option. Did I feel like quitting? Yes, so many times. But it came to a point wherein I'm not just thinking of myself, I'm thinking of the people with me. If I quit, then I fail, then they fail. If I quit, then the stakeholders, the customers that we have will be affected. The impact will not only be on myself or my family, but on the many people around me, the many people who supported and believed in the vision that we have. So, and that's the reason why our mantra is really building businesses so that we can be sustainable. So we really have to be profitable as well, because if we're not, how do we build communities? And that's what we're doing right now, building communities, helping MSMEs, coming up with platforms that will help MSMEs because we need to be engaging and more importantly, building lives. Because when you build lives, that's the most important thing. You impact lives, and it's
yeah.
all about that.
I like it because it's no longer, what you're saying is zoom out. Don't be too close. Zoom out and think about the bigger picture all the time, no? And it's no longer about yourself. No longer about your goal. It's about you and then the implication to others. No, I think it's a very interesting and a very relevant lesson on how we stay motivated. Sometimes I mean, businesses, there are always problems, and you always encounter, oh my, I'm so unmotivated, but it's no longer about you, and this is something very relevant. But tell us about your growing stage, no? You had a startup, it was difficult, but you pass. But there's a stage in your company where you were growing significantly, no? Tell us about that stage and how you achieve it, Rosemary.
Josiah, I can say that you really have to stay motivated. And to stay motivated is not that easy because what if something doesn't excite you anymore? So to stay motivated, it's very important to have that discipline. Okay, because when you're not excited about something anymore, I think discipline should set in. So I was able to discipline myself to stay on track, stay in path, that this is the vision, this is the direction, and this is where we want to be. This is the gap, and this is what we have to fill up from where we are right now to where we want to be. And I surrounded myself with really good people, the people that I have in the company, and also mentors. I have business mentors. And in the beginning pa lang, Josiah, you won't believe it, but in the beginning, syempre, these are like high-level, busy business people. But I sought them. Hindi naman chasing, no? But I really look for them. And I set aside and I will ask them, can we have breakfast? Can we have lunch? And then I'll be the one to treat them, even if they can afford more than I can do at that time, no? But I really sought for their advice, godly wisdom, business advice, and I really soaked it in. It really helped me a lot because, I think I mentioned to you that I didn't graduate in business management or anything. I
Yeah.
took international studies.
Yes.
And in international studies, there are not really a lot of business subjects, not even accounting eh. That's the
Yeah.
reason why I took it up because ay walang accounting, buti na lang, walang numbers. But then again, as I said, there are many things wherein you're not comfortable with, but you know that you have to do. It's like for you to be able to get to where you want to be, you have to do the things that you're not really that comfortable in. And discipline really should come in because you don't like to do it there. But then it came to a point wherein I became comfortable. I became at ease in doing that. I became at ease in looking at numbers. I became at ease in management. I mean, really and truly, I never imagined myself managing a company as such. But the business mentors that I surrounded myself really helped me a lot. And I really listened. In fact, anything that they say during breakfast meeting, to sinusulat ko pa yan. Would you believe? And I go back to it and really apply what is applicable.
Yeah.
In times of crisis or whenever there are decisions to be made, buti na lang may baon na ako. Like I prepared myself, especially during COVID, that was a scary time.
Yeah.
During COVID, I myself, when that happened, did not know what to do. I didn't know because the impact was so much. It's a health risk, and how will I allow our riders or messengers to go out to deliver? So I
Yeah.
didn't know what was going to happen, but may baon na ako eh. Naplano na eh. Parang, because I was reading all those and I was listening to so many business mentors and I really soaked it in, I knew what to do. And of course, with God's guidance, no?
Yeah.
Very important. I always pray for godly wisdom, discernment, so that every time you're facing something that is so difficult and you don't know what to do, believe it or not, he will give you the guidance, he will give you the discernment, and you will know in that particular moment what to do.
Yeah.
So during COVID, Josiah, as I said, no, we were like handling retailers.
Yeah.
Retailers closed.
Yeah. So
We
many of
do.
them had to have lockdown and they couldn't operate, no?
Correct. I didn't know what to do. So sabi ko, anong gagawin? Wala kaming negosyo because the retailers didn't have any business. So, but then again, and I'll tell you a short story. It was a Friday. That was March when that happened. I was talking to an airline asking for a charter because we had a shipment coming in from Los Angeles that will entail to have one charter from Manila to Cebu. So we closed it. I paid on a Monday. So the charter's ready on a Tuesday, but lockdown happened. I think it was a Tuesday or Wednesday. So, but the shipment, commercial flights didn't come in. So that shipment did not come in. So I was so like in shock. What do I do? What do I do? We have a charter that we paid for, and there's nothing that we can put on the charter.
Yeah.
But then again, as I said, dapat may baon ka talaga eh. Wisdom. call the pharma companies, call the essentials, call these clients. And they're not even our clients, no? We just thought of them because we were more catering to non-essentials. And when we called them, and because we were the only aircraft flying out that day, kasi no commercial flights but we already have the license and the permit, we filled up the charter up to the talagang full na full going to Cebu and back because the perishables from Cebu to Manila wala ring sasakyan, so we filled them up and then that's it. So we continued the charter, and that was the beginning of the charters that we had during pandemic. We started doing it for 2-3 months. We were doing it Manila Davao and Manila Cebu. So this is something that we were not hoping, we were not planning. Sometimes things are not planned for, but when the opportunity is there, you really have to know what the opportunity is and act on it right away. Being decisive is also very important. That's why being able to go from where we were to where we are right now, I think being decisive is one of the key factors there. When you decide on something, act on it right away. Because we can plan, we can prepare, we can plan. But if there's no implementation, no action, and
True.
no monitoring, then nothing will happen.
Just 2 quick. I like what you said. So I'm gonna put a little framework there. It's a vertical line, no? You talk about yourself, and you must have a goal, vertical line, and then you have good employees, and then good mentors, and you talk about spiritual, your God, prayers and all of these things. So it's really about, one without the other is not gonna work. No, I mean, if you have mentor but you don't have a goal, but you have a goal but you don't have good people, you have good people but maybe, and part of resiliency is, if you have spirituality, it makes you more resilient. No, I think all of them, all of these factors are get putting together makes you convert crisis into opportunity. And I think the second point that you mentioned, which I really like, is never underestimate your solution. No, like if, for example, you said you went on cold prospect to some pharmaceutical company. Who would have thought that they would be interested in a moment's notice? No,
Yeah.
maybe you'll underestimate.
Mhm.
No, they're not. They have a process. They will have to accredit you. They will have to. But who knows? You can never tell. Somebody might be needing the solution that you have been providing. Wonderful, Rosemary.
I was going to add to what you said because during normal times,
Yeah,
it's hard to enter a
yeah,
particular market.
yeah,
Kasi normal So they're doing just like what you said, there's a process, they have to accredit. Because normal times, you have to go through that. But during that pandemic time, it was not normal. It was like more crisis time. They had the
yeah.
need to fly their items, to fly the essentials. So, and then we had the solution. So we actually jived. We actually matched.
And you actually kind
Process.
of refocus your target market. And you kind of
Exactly.
refocus your target market from retail to pharmaceutical companies.
Correct.
Wonderful. Many people should learn from you and say, well, make it happen. If we cannot have this customer, well, who else should we be targeting that would need our solution? No, wonderful. You're
Agree.
such an inspiration, Rosemary.
Mhm.
But we have 7,000 plus islands in the Philippines. Philippines is a big challenge. How do you now handle potential disruption or crisis in the logistics supply chain? It's kind of complicated to handle different industries, in different islands, and even complicated. You have Visayas, and you have to fly, you have land, you have air, you have sea, and so how do you do all of this, Rosemary?
Thank you for your question, Josiah. This is really something that's really challenging for us. There's land, sea, and air. You're right. And the things that we're doing, especially for the last mile delivery, because this is the most expensive and complicated component of the whole end-to-end logistics. So we're coming up with different areas. Like we try to enlarge our network by coming up also with PUDO. We call it PUDO, or pick up and drop off points. We are now with M. Louis here. They have about 2,000 locations, SM markets, and we're coming up with more. And this is one thing that's very new for us right now. We just signed a contract with LMRT, the Light Railway Transit, last Monday. We are going to have lockers in 19 locations. So this can be another channel for drop-offs or pickups. So these are the things that we're looking at so that we can be reachable and visible. And it's going to be easy to connect because, you know, you are so right, with 7,100 islands. Sometimes when we have to deliver, because we also deliver left luggage when you for some airlines, now when you come in, or a passenger, especially for overseas workers, they usually bring in more than 2 pieces of luggage. And so if you go beyond, then
Yeah.
it's usually bumped off or not loaded, and we deliver it to the overseas worker, Filipino, no? But then what we didn't realize is when we deliver to the provinces, usually they live in the mountain. So we have used all sorts of transportation, from air to land to sea, and then sometimes Carabao, because it's only the Carabao who can go up the mountain and deliver to their house. So this is really, it's challenging, but at the same time, it makes us think, be innovative, be more creative in how we can come up with all the deliveries. You know, during a crisis or when there are typhoons or whatever, we also help in the deliveries. And sometimes there are areas wherein we cannot even land. You know, the airlines or the aircrafts cannot even land in a particular area. So we just have to drop off the relief goods. That's what usually happens. So it's really challenging, but little by little, with the collaboration with the public and the private, we're coming up with more solutions to all these challenges.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is the first time I've encountered a company that, well, we have to deliver, including using Carabao, no, to the provinces, and it's a first. But I'm not shocked that it's actually can happen, because you're talking about make it happen. So do whatever is needed to make it happen. Now, this is a session, Rosemary, about leadership and entrepreneurship, and I'm interested to know, did you have the vision already before the launch or after the launch? I mean, some people I discuss with would tell me they had no vision in the beginning. It came after. Some said in the beginning they already have it. No, in your case, what was your experience with your vision? So how's that?
Actually, visioneering or coming up with a vision is something that is really close to my heart, to a point that I even teach about coming up with a vision board. I teach it in church. So one time I was in I took up Bible studies, and one of the subjects was biblical financial stewardship. And I came up with a vision board myself and said to myself, okay, this is what I want to do. I come up with a vision for my marriage, for my family, for the business. And for the business, I really just placed there that I'd like to be able to build a business that will impact lives. That's all. I don't know how I'm going to reach it. I don't have any parang strat plan to do it. I just said to myself, impact lives. Not very thorough yet in terms of how will I do it. Then I came up with a vision there that I'd like to be able to teach about biblical financial stewardship. So when I came back after my studies, one of the pastors said, "Can you teach on biblical financial stewardship to our students?" And I was in shock because
Yeah.
I didn't tell anyone about that vision. And I started doing it many years ago, 20 years ago, and every time that they ask me to teach, I really try to make it a point to teach about biblical financial stewardship. This is so funny nga eh. Parang when you question God, why this? Parang it's so hard, no? Parang I really don't know how to work it out, but the vision is such, and I believe that if the vision is a godly vision, He will give you the provision. So all those things about the business, about the family, and when the vision comes to pass, then come up with the next set of vision that you have. So
So it's kind
that
of like evolving, no? You have something broad, and then it evolve into something more specific. And when you're nearing it, then you can change it and say, well, I just changed my destination to something farther, no? Something more challenging, no? Wonderful.
I I agree. That's it.
Tell,
That's
tell us about Tell us about your concept, and you're consistent with the vision. You want to impact lives, and also for your family. Tell us about your concept of personal and industry leadership. What does that mean to you?
uh, who you are as a person should not change who you are in the industry or wherever you are. And
Okay.
then I believe that if you know what's right and what's wrong, if you know your values, you align it with anything that you do. And whatever decisions that you make, you will be guided because you already have established the values that you have. I'll tell you one story wherein we had a project many, many years ago, and we were just quite small. But this was such a big project, Josiah. It's something like, wow, you don't want to let go of this kind of project.
Yeah.
But somehow I saw something that in the contract, I saw something that's not right. And for business people, it's so easy to look at the now,
Yeah.
but I always really would like to look at the future, the long term.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll take some time. Yes, it's like sometimes when you're so impatient, you don't want to wait, but always, always long term. I don't believe in shortcuts because it's just like climbing a ladder. You don't climb from the step 1 to step 5. You can fall, and falling from that point is going to be way more painful. So I really believe in doing it one step at a time and no shortcuts. So that project, I said no to that. And because I felt like if I go ahead with it, the risk is way higher um, than what can be seen, and it can wipe us out. And then our reputation can also be stain tainted. So I said no to that. And my people were saying, huh, what happened? How come you're saying no to that? But I just stood firm and really said, no, we cannot do this. But what happened was we got awarded another project that really put us in the map of the Philippines to a certain extent because we won the Smartmatic project for delivering of the cards during the 20
Wow. The big
election.
project.
Yes, it's the first automated election, so I was so happy to be part of that also. So standing firm to what you believe, because that will guide you in the decisions that you make, because temptation can always be there. And choices we make is on a day-to-day. Sometimes not even on the day-to-day. Minsan, talagang by minute to minute, you make decisions. But if you have the basis of what you know, you stand for, then you will be guided at all times.
I'm gonna pick up the 2 points that you said, but I'm gonna just say it my own way. The first point that you said is be 360 degree, be consistent, no? And whatever is personal and whatever is in the business, you have to be consistent. Which leads me to my second. Did you know you talk about well, you didn't talk about it, but I am creating the 3 C's of Rosemarie Rafael, no? Brand of leadership, which is consistency, continuously, and calculated, no? You do it consistently, but you also do it continuously, long term, short term, it has to be related. And then you do it in a calculated way that says, okay, You look at the risk, reward, and so forth and so on. One of the things that I really like about interviewing is not that our readers will learn. It's also about I'm also learning. No? So thank you very much for teaching us about this valuable lesson. I want to ask my last question. How do you know if you're ready to sell a business, and to who? How do you know that?
I asked myself that question many years ago before SM Investments became our partner here. I was I was like faced with the difficulty really of trying to build up the business as fast as I really wanted to. Of course, you need funds and everything. And if we're just going to focus on traditional forwarding, I don't have to. But then I looked at, the future. How do I future-proof the business? There's so many things that's happening. There's e-commerce, there digital transformation. These are the things that I was not even familiar with, but had to familiarize myself. So I said to myself, if I'm going to future-proof the business, I have to do this. I have to partner with someone, partner with another company that will have the same values as I have, the same direction, the same vision that we have. And I've spoken to other companies, but I realized that SM Investments is really the best fit for us. Why? They're also very entrepreneurial. Number two, they understand how we operate in the sense that they really see that we're progressive thinkers as well, like they are. And then they really support you when they see that what you're doing is really for sustainability and scalability. So I'm very happy with the partnership that we have. And that's when I saw how they are and what they are, that they're going to really take care of our people as well, take care of the business. Because, I'd like to see Airspeed beyond my lifetime. I'd like Airspeed to be there to have the impact in the Philippines and maybe beyond the Philippines, global. So it's very, very crucial that you have a partner who understand and who's aligned with the values and the vision that you have.
You mentioned something very important word, fit, which means you thought about it and you had criteria. It's not just about intuition, but you had a criteria and say, okay, so let me count the ways, let me see how to go about it logically, no? In fact, you're really talking about we have the same value system, and we have the same vision and values. And our vision is not just to grow in the Philippines. We want to grow beyond the Philippines. We want to grow our people. We want to grow our business. And they have the experience to be able to do that. No? They have shown the track record, and you have chosen them. It's also like choosing a husband or a wife. No? That says, okay,
Yeah.
is there a fit? So what are you exactly looking for? And you don't want to be remorseful. You want to say, okay, if there's a perfect fit, sure, there might be some issues, but you always discuss it, no?
Yes.
So this is so wonderful, Rosemary. I learned so much. This session is what I call a classic. I mean, in the future, even the younger people, when they will watch this video 10 years from now, it will still be relevant in terms of the lesson. Thank you very much, Rosemary, for taking time for this Q&A. And then we will allow our audience to ask their own questions so that we can be more relevant. Maraming salamat, Rosemary.
Saya, thank you. It's an honor and thank you so much.